If I were to ask you who you thought the dirtiest player currently is in the NHL, who comes to mind? Probably a player that served suspensions, taken a good amount of senseless penalties, and just has a general lack for his opponent's safety. And in case you didn't catch the title, in this video I'm going to go over the top 10 dirtiest players currently in the league. This should be fun. And with that, here are the NHL's dirtiest players of 2020.
He said he loved the way that you were hated around the league.
I don't know about that. I mean, that's big shoes to fill. I was pretty hated.
Saying that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree definitely has some validity to it. Once you take a trip back in time and compare New York Rangers forward Brendan to his old man Claude, as both have a reputation for straddling the line of legality more than most. And while I could get into the whole Detroit-Colorado rivalry that Lemieux basically produced, I'm mostly here to talk about the younger of the two in Brendan. First, let's talk about how big of a savage this guy is. Okay, example 1. Baits Branson into taking his gloves off, insinuating a fight, and then just skates off like nothing ever happened. Example 2. Knocks Jamie Benn's stick out of his hands, then proceeds to score like, again, nothing ever happened. Like he's probably the guy you don't want to bring home to the fam. Just saying. Anyways, obviously Lemieux isn't just here because he's great at trolling, but rather for making dirty plays. So to name a few, there was the whole headshot on Vincent Trocheck during the Global Series, mind you, which resulted in a 2-game suspension, taking out Cody Glass, causing him to leave the game, and most recently was given 2 games for sideswiping Jonas Donskoy. Just goes to show how much dirt there really is coming up by having this guy at number 10. So get out your mud and boots, cause it's about to get even dirtier.
Sauce you right in the face! Why don't you call a high stick then?
One of you guys are coming over here. If you're the most violent, you're coming.
What is violence, anyway? What's that mean?
Remember that time James Neal got inquisitive and asked what violence was? Maybe we'll just let the forward show us here for a second. Let's see. Let's drum up a little assortment here. Okay, got your classic sucker punches. Boarding poor Dorsett, who's looking like one of those people passing out on live TV. Open ice hits to the head. I mean, basically, if number 18 is playing, you want to have a stretcher ready to go and ambulance running, because you're probably going to need it. Sometimes, players do grow out of less than savory antics such as these, but Neal seems to be abiding by a code that the rulebook is nothing but a collection of big words and sayings that don't matter. The guy got 5 games for kneeing Brad Marchand, and while Marchand is pretty much public enemy number 1, it doesn't get much more deliberate than this. A guy obviously down, and Neal decides to plow right through and treat Marchie's head like nothing more than just something in the way. Besides just a hazardous play, Neal also enjoys trolling when he gets the opportunity, like jabbing his stick in John Gibson's cage for dramatic effect, or the countless times he's tried out for the swim team while honing in his diving expertise. Let's see. Violence. There we go. Fixed it. One of the few old-school enforcers left currently in the league, Lucic, during his time in the NHL, has gained the reputation of being one of the biggest goons around. And just let me say, this guy would make one heck of a boxer, cause he's great at knocking guys out. Anyways, after the amount of times a forward has deliberately went out of his way to punish his opponent with brutality, most guys are shivering in their skates whenever number 17 takes the ice. Cross-checking, sucker punching, harassing goalies, and even taking runs at them too. Picture that kid that was the bully you ran from trying to take your lunch money, and that's Milan Lucic to a T. Oh yeah, the player that tried to steal greatness that one time by yanking a chunk out of Jumbo Joe's beard. Him. See, while he was in Toronto, Leafs fans quickly developed this strange love-hate relationship with the guy. Like, sure, he was great when he was notching 30 goals a season, but Kadri also had this short fuse, as he was seen on multiple occasions letting his emotions get the better of him, and losing it on several opponents, which on several occasions resulted in a nice extended stay in the press box. And while many might believe that number 43's bad side doesn't seep out until the playoffs begin, Kadri actually has had his fair share of run-ins with player safety throughout the regular season. There was that time he decided to elbow Nicklas Backstrom. Just kidding, not that Nicklas Backstrom, the goalie Nicklas Backstrom. Anyways, the forward received 3 games, 4 games for a headshot on Matt Frazier, and the list goes on. He also was dealt a $5,000 fine for embellishment, so sometimes when you lead the league in penalties drawn, it can backfire in expensive ways. So before I get into the ripping part, can I just say that Gudas, out of all players listed, probably has the best sense of humor among them. The players were smart, miking this guy up when they had the chance.
Who wants it? Look up down. Are you trying to hit the net?
Anyways, when he's not making us laugh on mic, Gudas takes the task of causing his opponent's pain seriously, using Perreault's head as a makeshift piñata, sideswiping his opponent on multiple occasions, all while giving them free rides to the closest bench in proximity. To put it in perspective, due to being suspended for close to 20 games throughout his 8-year stint thus far in the league, Gudas has lost over $400,000 of salary while gazing down from the press box on suspension. While some players thrive on making plays happen, Ronaldo seems to thrive on making injuries happen. Let's let a little pop culture do the talking here. Favorite song? Probably Blurred Lines. Favorite movie? Likely 50 Shades of Grey.
Mr. Gray will see you now. Okay.
Cause number 36 lives in the gray areas and doesn't know where the line is. I mean, you gotta work pretty hard to get suspended 6 times in the OHL. But Ronaldo, as I said, doesn't play by the rules. Honestly, it's pretty ironic how he was once a Predator, cause he's got this role down to a T, making Chris Letang look like a real-life bobblehead, checking him into the boards, annihilating Cedric Paquette, but again, we're talking about a guy that doesn't believe in slow-motion evals, so your guess is as good as mine on the logic here.
Yeah, I don't think they should slow it down and dissect every single little thing. It's happened so fast. I'm not thinking that I'm going to hurt the guy. I'm going to hit him like, you know, some people think I hit him. But we play such a fast game and things happen so quickly. So it's hard to dissect something that happens so quickly.
I know, Marchand being anything less than number 1 for several people is probably the biggest curveball. But actually, putting a player at number 1 that hasn't been suspended for over 2 seasons seemed kinda harsh. Some players seem to never grow out of playing on the edge, but for Brad Marchand, apparently, he's matured past the need for visiting George Peros every week. But back when Marshy was playing hardball, though, he was slew-footing like it was the latest trend. Spearing, sucker punching, elbowing, boarding, licking, you name it, Marchand's tried it. He's like that friend that has to try and experiment with everything, only his forte is penalties. Regardless, as I mentioned, the Rat has seen the light and cleaned up his act for the most part, as a forward no longer has the repeat offender status. Possibly the top name on players' hate list these days anyways, Matthieukichuk has embraced the art of pissing his opponents off. Most likely, indoctrinated at an early age on how to be the biggest pest by his old man, Matthew spends his time chewing on his mouthguard, while simultaneously playing with an edge that's seen him suspended and fined several times already in his young career. Tkachuk finds out how to push his opponent's buttons and mashes them like you would on the controller while playing Super Smash Bros. And yes, Captain Falcon's my guy. But sometimes when you mash those buttons, well, you get resistance in the form of multiple punches that make you wish that it was a video game. For Tkachuk though, his careless and brash antics have also resulted in the forward making quite a few enemies, including Drew Doughty and Zach Cassian. Known as a worm, Perry has pretty much been living in the dirt since his NHL debut. Similarly to Tkachuk, he's the pest you love to hate, as number 10 throughout his lengthy career has trolled, embellished, and injured several opponents. Most recently, karma came back to bite the forward hard on New Year's Day. After deciding to elbow Ryan Ellis in front of 85,000 pairs of eyes outdoors, Perry was humorously made to undergo the walk of shame after being ejected from the contest. A few other notable acts include the time he decided to whack Marc-Edouard Vlasic's head while he was vulnerable, when he cross-checked Marian Hossa in the kidneys, and the play on Jason Zucker that resulted in a suspension. I mean, who didn't see this one coming? In all actuality, Wilson is the type that deserves to have the Jaws theme playing as soon as he touches the ice, as number 43 has been known as one of the top predators currently in the league. If headhunting was a sport, Wilson would be the best at the game. Let's just put it that way. Wilson, on multiple occasions, has been seen going out of his way to seek out an opponent in a predatory nature, with only one thing in mind. Just as guys like Zach Ashton-Reese, Oscar Sundqvist, or Libomir Vishnowski. And just like the last two on this list though, Wilson has also gotten a hefty taste of karma, a time or two.